Recently, we made a move from Toronto, Canada, all the way to Puerto Vallarta with our 2 kids. We basically sold everything we owned and tried to start fresh.
Initially, we chose Puerto Vallarta because it looked like it was going to be very smooth. There's a lot of families here. There are,
The airport's
locals,
right there.
Costco. We plan on using Puerto Vallarta as kind of our home base while we travel around the country. We're definitely looking for a smaller town vibe, a smaller community, and that's kind of the life that we envision for us. But I'd say Puerto Vallarta definitely isn't a bad start.
We're not suffering here.
What initially pushed us to really move from Canada and seek a new home was the lockdown, and it was something that made us all stay at home with our family, which is exactly what we wanted in life. We didn't want to commute to work anymore.
I think what we became very aware of is what we were showing our son. They learn from watching you, and we're like, do we really want him to think this is the goal? Just sitting there not enjoying yourself for 8 hours, being kind of grumpy, or do we want to show him what else is possible, that you can follow your dreams, you can follow what you want, and you can enjoy your work? I think Mexico definitely gave us a leg up on starting our own business, like quitting our job and then starting our own business. I think if we wanted to pursue that in Canada, it would be more like do both for a while until the other one grows. And then eventually you can replace the 9-to-5 with your own business, which would be a longer, more hectic way of doing it. So before moving to Mexico, I was working at Ryerson University in Toronto. I was an administrative manager in the architecture department.
I was a business analyst in the automotive industry, the finance side of it.
So now we're doing a few things. So we have our YouTube channel. We also have started recently a business called Mute Virtual Assistants, which is combining both of our skill sets, so the administrative side, as well as like video editing, podcast editing, social media management, and that's sort of our what pays the bills kind of thing.
Yeah, we've basically created a business that meshes our admin side, like our work history, with a creative part that we've been developing a little bit before moving to Mexico, but definitely pushing it since we've been here. So it's like a mesh of what we used to do and what we want to be doing.
We arrived here in November 2022, which is basically the start of high season. I think if we were going to do one thing differently, we would arrive during this time of year. The summertime, low season, there's a lot more options in terms of rentals. The rentals are generally a lot lower and people are more flexible to negotiations.
We got an Airbnb for a month in this neighborhood, so Cinco de Diciembre, but all the way up the hill. We basically fell in love with the overall vibe of the neighborhood. The beach here, Playa Camarones, is beautiful. A lot of local eats, which we consider ourselves like street foodies. Just a very tight community here. Like, we know all our neighbors. We see the same people on a daily basis. And that's something that we were missing in Toronto that we wanted to find here in Puerto Vallarta. It's definitely a little bit more of a community feel to it. The reason that we picked this apartment specifically was the look of it. So number one on our checklist of rentals was something that looked very traditional Mexican. We wanted that vibe. When we were coming here, we wanted to feel like we lived in Mexico. So our home here is very open concept. Basically, outside is inside. It does get really hot, but it's part of its charm, I guess.
We have an AC in one room of the house, which is really helpful, and it's the room back here with the kids in it.
It's our one room with air conditioning, so we all gather in there maybe once or twice a day. And also the proximity to the beach, so we can just pick up and go there at any point, spend an hour or two and come back.
Every evening we walk down to the beach and just like after dinner we go for a walk. We either walk the Malecon or we sit on the beach and watch the sunset. And it's a great way to wind down, a great way to cool off before bedtime. So our rent here is 22,000 pesos, which is about 1,200 USD,
Yeah.
I think. On top of that, we have to pay internet, water, gas, and electricity, which is maybe another 1,000 pesos a month, roughly.
And in comparison to what we were previously paying in Toronto, basically for our mortgage, we're paying close to 3 times more that amount. We knew that, the Mexican culture was very inviting to kids, but we didn't expect the infrastructure to be very inviting for kids too. And it seems like everything is tailored around kids because there's so many of them here. So we just take advantage of, pools and playgrounds, parks.
Movie theaters with playgrounds, everything. Like, I think it's just like, it's new for them, it's exciting for them, but it's almost like we're reliving our childhood with them. Like, what? This is crazy, a playground inside a movie theater. He does go to school here, full Spanish. There are a lot of other English-speaking kids, even a couple from Toronto in the school. So he has the balance of the teachers all speaking Spanish, but friends and like a support system there with him that can help him. So they've been there for a little bit longer. So some of them actually speak Spanish as well as English, so they can help him. And I don't think he feels out of place. Like, I think it's comfortable for him.
He definitely adapted really well to Mexico. We educated him on the country before coming. We bought storybooks. We taught him some words in the language. So as soon as we touched down here, he was very comfortable approaching other kids on the beach, on the playground. And I think overall it's just been a perfect mesh for him as well as our family.
The biggest thing was he didn't have snow at Christmas.
Yeah.
That was the biggest adjustment that we had to explain.
The one day that we missed snow, Christmas Day, that's it.
Honestly, we have not felt concerned about our safety at all since arriving in Mexico, arriving in Puerto Vallarta. Like, we were actually just saying the other night, we joked in our neighborhood in Toronto. It was a bit of an interesting neighborhood. I'm like, I haven't cleaned up any needles off the ground here. Like, it's something that was very common there. I wouldn't say that I felt danger there, but there was definitely things I didn't like seeing. I didn't want the kids to see, and that's not something that happens here ever. Those things became more frequent throughout the pandemic. A lot of people became homeless. There was a lot of drug usage, and in our specific neighborhood in Toronto, we definitely saw the progression of it getting worse with needles or homeless people sleeping in the playgrounds. And it's important to note that we drove all the way here too, and throughout the whole drive there was not even one incident that we'd say that was sketchy or that we were uncomfortable with. Obviously that's just our personal experience driving here. There's definitely things that do happen, but thankfully nothing bad happened throughout the United States or Mexico. And living here, over 7 months, we can't say that there was a single situation that we felt uncomfortable with. I think our biggest tip for people that are planning to drive to Mexico is to utilize Facebook groups. There's a ton of information on that. So many people have done this drive before. They can tell you what route to take. They can tell you what time of day not to be driving. So just use the tools that are available to really plan out your road trip as best as you can, and also be flexible because things do change. Get really tired driving here, especially coming from Toronto. So stop where you can, and also just enjoy the ride. Like, we really took our time. We took 11 days to arrive to Puerto Vallarta, and we decided to stay a couple nights here and there in different places to really take our time, enjoy the city, have the kids also be able to wind down, and we may never see those places again. So we really wanted to make it a road trip and also an experience coming here. I think some of our challenges moving here have been adjusting to the new life, more in terms of finding a routine that works for us as a family. As we had previously mentioned, this whole life is new to us, being now business owners, being creators,
and obviously parenting.
We don't have our support system here. As in Toronto, we had our parents, so if we needed help, if we needed a break, we could always just drive the kids up there.
We are generally very adaptable because we have traveled in the past, so we look at challenges more as learning experiences or just things that we do different now. Some of those things could be like communication is a lot different here, not only in terms of the language used, but just the expectations with communication. So communicating with school or communicating with activities that we had Bastian in is a lot different. Not in a bad way or a good way, but it just takes some time to adapt for us, yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges, it was considered a challenge, would be the immigration process and the paperwork. Obviously that's not something that you have to do all the time, but it was a little bit of a long process for us. And I guess if we could give any tips, it's make sure all your paperwork is like super correct and uniform, like your name doesn't change on anything. Everything has to be perfect, and it does take a long time. And I think like we drive by the immigration office and we're like, oh, PTSD, like I can't go there anymore. It took us so many tries to get everything right. We had a lawyer and she was great. I'm so thankful we had her. We hired her through Sonia Diaz's website, and super helpful, and thank God, because we didn't have to really communicate at the immigration office with the immigration officer behind the counter. She took care of that. I mean, even for her, there were sometimes things that they would not accept, and she's like, I don't know why, it's a big deal. That's where the frustration came in, but yeah, it's definitely another set of eyes to make sure that you have everything and to make sure you're not going there with something that's going to be an issue and to send you away again.
I don't think we would have been able to do it by ourselves to begin with, so definitely worth seeking out help and a lawyer if you're going through that immigration process, because it is very time consuming. There's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of fine details, and in a language that we're not, native in, or just a struggle altogether. We're living this experience together, so we're growing as a family. It's not like the kids are growing just naturally and we're doing the same things on a daily basis. We're all learning things together at the same time. A new language, new food, new culture. So just a beautiful thing for us to get to experience with our kids. And I think that it's brought us a lot closer as a family unit than what we would have been living right now if we would have stuck to our old life.
To be able to do this with my family, it means the world. Like, I think for me as a kid, I always loved traveling. I always wanted to live in different countries. It was something that my whole life I chased. I accomplished that as a single person. I accomplished that with Marc. And to be able now to kind of show my kids this life and to kind of show them, the beauty of what's around the world I feel so grateful to be in a position where I can do that with them, that I can provide that opportunity for them. And I just hope, I hope they enjoy it. I hope they appreciate it. And just to I don't even know if any of this makes sense, but just to be able to give them that option, that there is more out there, that we're setting the example. We're actually living what we're saying.
Hey, it's me, Paul, back on camera. Thanks for watching today's video. If you like that video, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. And of course, you can also subscribe to Kathleen and Marc's YouTube channel, which is called More Life Diaries. And I'll put that link in the description below. So if you're looking to make the move to Mexico, there's a lot of big decisions to make, a lot of research to do. It's a lot. So what you're gonna wanna do to help alleviate some of that stress and help make those decisions, do it the right way, pick up the Mexico Relocation Guide. The Mexico Relocation Guide covers everything you need to know when making the move to Mexico, including insurance, immigration, trusted real estate agents, and much more. Follow the link below to pick up your copy of the Mexico Relocation Guide. I love making videos like these. It is a lot of work, so if you can support me, help support the channel, buy me a coffee, keep me caffeinated, keep me making cool videos like this one. A big thank you to everyone who's already become a member or bought me coffees. Thank you so much. De mi familia a la tuya, Dios te bendiga.